One of the biggest things I've learned from selling Pokemon cards over the past 5 years is how profitable Pokemon bulk can be for generating cash flow. When I first started learning the business, I didn't want to spend a ton of money on a brand new business I knew nothing about. So I started with Pokemon bulk, sourcing cards through local meetups and selling 1,000 card bulk lots on eBay. That was the beginning of how I learned the business. But over time, I found other ways to use bulk to build capital and generate profit even faster. And that's exactly what you guys are actually watching me do in this video. Packing Pokemon bulk into USPS large flat rate boxes, getting everything ready to ship out, and breaking down the exact system behind it. Hey everyone, my name is Kevin and this is Swivels Card Shop. This is part 1 of my Bulk to Profit series where I break down underrated ways people can build capital and generate profit with Pokemon bulk. So how does this actually work? How was I flipping thousands of Pokemon cards without using eBay, without using TCG Player, and without listing singles? Well, instead of selling directly to customers, I was selling the bulk to larger bulk buyers who are often paying much higher rates because they supplied companies that repackaged Pokemon cards. So instead of individually sorting and listing cards myself, I was simply sourcing bulk from local sellers and turning it around for profit almost immediately. The main way I sourced bulk was by putting up buying posts online. I post listing on Facebook Marketplace, local Pokemon Facebook groups, and Discord communities, just letting people know I was actively buying Pokemon bulk. And there are actually a lot of people in the hobby who accumulate tons of bulk over time, especially from opening packs. Eventually, the cards start taking up a lot of space and just end up sitting in boxes, collecting dust. Most people don't even know bulk buyers exist, where to sell the cards, or how to move large amounts of bulk efficiently. So instead, the bulk usually just sits there unused. So once I pick up the bulk, I package everything up, send the counts over to my bulk buyer, and usually get paid out shortly after. And honestly, if you're able to find a larger bulk buyer nearby, that can work even better. Because instead of shipping everything out, you can sometimes meet locally, get paid immediately, and move through inventory even faster. Over time, it turned into a very fast and efficient system, especially once I started scaling larger amounts of inventory. And one of the biggest reasons this method works so well is because the person selling you the bulk will usually already have everything counted and separated beforehand. So when you buy the cards, they'll often already have the count of the common and commons, holo and reverse holos, and so on. Which means once I get the cards, most of the work is already done. All I really have to do is transfer everything into a USPS large flat rate box, tape everything up securely, send the counts over to my bulk buyer, and get paid out. And honestly, that's one of the reasons I enjoy this process so much. It's simple, repetitive, efficient, and easy to scale once you build the right system around it. Now, of course, there are still expenses involved. For me, the main costs were shipping. That's pretty much it. I used USPS large flat rate boxes, which is free from the post office. So most of the time, the only real money coming out of my pocket was time and shipping. And even after shipping costs, there is still profit left over. One thing a lot of people don't think about is speed, because once your bulk buyer pays you through PayPal goods and services, you have 2 options. You can either wait 1 to 3 business days for the free bank transfer, or pay a small instant transfer fee to get the money immediately. And when I was really scaling this up, I actually preferred getting the money instantly, because instead of waiting several days, I could immediately use that money to buy more bulk, which meant I could move through inventory even faster. So even though there was a small fee involved, the speed allowed me to scale the process much quicker. Of course, this method only works if your buy price is lower than what your bulk buyer pays, and rates will vary depending on where you live. But earlier this year, when I really started going all in on eBay again, bulk rates in my area were around $5 to $10 per thousand for common and commons, and around $20 per thousand for holo and reverse holos. Meanwhile, my bulk buyer was paying around 3 times what I was buying them for. So it became a very fast moving flip. At one point, I accumulated around 240,000 cards and made a pretty decent profit just repeating the system over and over. I more than doubled my money in about a month just by sourcing bulk consistently and flipping it efficiently. Now obviously, this method definitely has its downsides too. The biggest downside is that this strategy only really works if you have time to meet up sellers and pick up the cards yourself. You're driving to meetups, coordinating schedules, loading bulk into your car, and sometimes driving across town just to make a deal happen. So there's definitely time involved. But if the deals are close enough, the profit for your time can actually be really good. Especially when you're able to scale multiple pickups together or build repeat customers who continue selling bulk to you over time. And because the turnaround is so fast, you can constantly reinvest that money back into buying more inventory. Another thing to keep in mind is that this method works especially well right now because Pokemon is still very bullish. There are a lot of demand for bulk, which means you can consistently source cards, you can generate a pretty good amount of cash flow in a short period of time. But honestly, that's also the hardest part, consistency. Finding enough people selling bulk in your area, building connection, and consistently sourcing inventory is really what determines whether this scales or not. Because once the sourcing slows down, the entire process slows down too. So while this can be a very fast-moving and profitable strategy, a big part of the work is consistently finding the next deal. Now obviously, this takes consistency, you need local connections, and you need reliable sellers, and you need to understand your market rates. But compared to selling singles, this was one of the simplest and fastest methods I used to generate cash flow in the Pokemon hobby. And honestly, this is only the beginning. Because in the next video, I'm going to show you how I turned Pokemon bulk into actual eBay inventory, and why some of the most overlooked cards sitting inside bulk boxes can quietly turn into some serious profit over time. If you want to learn different strategies on how to build capital and generate profit with Pokemon bulk, consider subscribing to the channel. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, and I'll see you guys on the next one.